Queen Camilla. Queen Camilla. She was the villain. I can't mimic voices for love or money. I'm completely hopeless. In a royal bombshell that has left Buckingham Palace reeling, Carole Middleton has reportedly revealed a truth so explosive that it has sent shockwaves across the monarchy. The once discreet mother of the Princess of Wales has broken her silence, and what she revealed about Queen Camilla is nothing short of staggering. This isn't just gossip. It's a crack in the foundation of royal unity. Insiders say tensions had been brewing for months, but no one expected Carole to speak out until now. So what exactly did she reveal? Let's dive in. Carole versus Camilla. The royal rift no one saw coming. Long before the royal drama reached headlines, something darker had been brewing. Something that began not on camera, but in quiet glances and private whispers. The relationship between Queen Camilla and Carole Middleton was never as smooth as the public believed. Behind every carefully rehearsed smile, there was tension thick enough to slice with a knife. From the earliest days of Kate and Prince William's courtship, Carole was already walking a tightrope, keen to support her daughter's path into royalty, but increasingly suspicious of Camilla's double-edged charm. At first, things looked promising. Camilla greeted Carole with warmth and what seemed like genuine acceptance, extending a hand of friendship toward the Middleton family. But Carole, ever perceptive, soon began to notice the subtle signs. The forced compliments, the half-hearted praise, the overly gracious invites that always came with a catch. It became clear Camilla wasn't thrilled about Kate marrying into the royal family. Why? Because in Camilla's eyes, Kate lacked the aristocratic lineage expected of a future queen. She wasn't blue-blooded, she was middle class, and to some within palace walls, that was unforgivable. As wedding plans progressed and Kate's place in the royal family became more permanent, so did the unspoken battle between Carole and Camilla. Camilla's snide remarks grew more pointed, often veiled as jokes or casual observations. She would question the Middleton family's manners or insinuate that Kate wasn't quite ready for royal responsibility. To the public, everything looked civil, but in the background, Carole was biting her tongue and building up frustration like a dam waiting to burst. For years, Carole kept her composure. She smiled through the discomfort, refusing to fuel the drama. Her silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. But make no mistake, she saw everything. Every passive-aggressive comment, every icy glare at royal functions, every time Camilla tried to overshadow her daughter. What irked Carole most wasn't just the disrespect, it was the manipulation. Camilla, according to insiders, had quietly tried to shape Kate into a more palace-approved royal wife. Less independent, more obedient. It didn't sit well with Carole, who had raised Kate to be strong, thoughtful, and self-assured, not a shadow of someone else's expectations. The tipping point came when Kate began to show signs of emotional fatigue. Strained smiles, clipped answers, and a visible unease during public engagements. Carole knew something had shifted. And it wasn't just the weight of royal duty. It was Camilla's influence, inching closer and closer, trying to mold Kate into someone she wasn't. That's when Carole made her decision. No more hiding. No more playing nice. In a shocking twist that stunned the nation, Carole Middleton broke her silence and went public about the long-standing friction with Queen Camilla. Her statement, though measured, was explosive. Years of subtle digs and private power struggles were suddenly dragged into the daylight. For someone known for keeping things discreet, Carole's bold move set off alarm bells across the monarchy. Why now? What finally pushed her to speak out? Palace insiders rushed to patch the damage, while royal watchers and media outlets scrambled for context. What they found was a years-long buildup of irritation, control games, and a behind-the-scenes war between two women who had more power than they let on. Carole's friends say she felt continuously sidelined, treated not like the mother of a future queen, but like an outsider. And as the friction reached a boiling point, Carole saw no option but to speak up, not just for herself, but for Kate. What followed wasn't just headlines. It was a storm that rattled the firm's foundations. But what exactly did Carole say that made the palace freeze in its tracks? Stay glued. Carole Middleton exposes Queen Camilla's darkest secret. Camilla's behavior had long been a source of quiet frustration. But for Carole Middleton, it had become unbearable. According to those closest to her, it wasn't one explosive moment that lit the match, but rather a steady stream of dismissive gestures and veiled insults. A slow brewing storm. She felt undermined at every turn, shared a friend of Carole's. Camilla wasn't just being cold. She was trying to wedge herself between Carole and her daughter, Kate. Jana's Fluentraud wasn't just friction. It became a royal power play, and Carole could feel herself being deliberately sidelined. Insiders whispered of calculated snubs, Camilla excluding Carole from key gatherings, passing sly remarks in public, or making sure she was seated far away during formal events. The pattern was subtle, but unmistakable. It wasn't loud, said one palace source, but it was constant. And for someone like Carole, who had worked so hard to maintain her dignity within royal circles, these snubs were not just petty. They were deeply personal. The atmosphere inside the palace grew heavier with each passing day. What started as quiet tension soon turned into whispered alliances and growing division among royal aides. Even senior family members began to take sides, though none dared speak aloud what they all sensed. A major confrontation was inevitable. Then it happened. In a gathering few expected to spiral into scandal, Carole Middleton stood tall, her voice trembling not from fear, but fury. Eyes locked on Camilla, she began to speak. The room froze. "I know the truth about Camilla," she said, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. The secret meetings, the whispered plots, the manipulation. Every sentence was like a hammer, shattering the royal facade piece by piece. Gasps filled the room as Carole continued, now unflinching, recounting Camilla's rise to power with chilling detail, describing her as a woman who maneuvered those around her like pawns on a chessboard, always scheming, always watching. With each revelation, the shock on royal faces deepened. This wasn't gossip. This was a direct hit on the queen consort's image. But Carole wasn't done. She turned to Camilla once more, and the room felt like it was closing in. "I know about your past," she said, her voice low and ominous. "The one you've tried so hard to bury." Camilla's face turned ghostly pale. She stammered, clearly caught off guard. "What are you talking about?" Carole leaned forward slightly, a faint but fierce smile playing on her lips. "I'm talking about the financial scandal, the embezzlement, the money laundering, the lies." The room went dead still. You could hear a pin drop. Even the air felt frozen in place. Camilla was visibly shaken. She demanded to know how Carole knew. But Carole, calm and firm, replied, "I have my sources. And soon, so will the rest of the world." Tension thickened. The monarchy was teetering, its secrets bleeding into public view. Camilla's carefully constructed image was crumbling by the second. And Carole wasn't through yet. With one final razor-sharp line, she delivered the blow that would echo through royal history. "You're not who you pretend to be. You cheated your way to the top, and now everything is unraveling." Camilla's fury surged, but her voice shook. "You'll regret this," she hissed. But Carole remained unmoved. "I'm not afraid of you," she replied, "because I know the truth." And then came the silence. Only Camilla's labored breathing broke the stillness as the weight of it all collapsed onto her shoulders. Her eyes darted around the room, desperate, cornered, defeated. and finally she dropped. But how did it all reach this breaking point? What dark history brewed beneath their strained smiles all these years? Stay with us. The silent feud that nearly broke the royals. For many royal watchers, Queen Camilla's public image today seems polished and composed. But behind the smiles lies a story far less harmonious, especially when it comes to her relationship with Prince William and Kate Middleton. The cracks began forming early on, long before Camilla ever became queen. In fact, according to royal expert Christopher Anderson, Camilla once played an unexpected and nearly devastating role in the early days of William and Kate's romance. It all began when William and Kate were just young university students at St. Andrews in Scotland. At first glance, their budding relationship looked like a modern fairy tale. A prince falling for a charming, down-to-earth girl from an ordinary background. But Camilla, then still navigating her controversial role as Charles's longtime companion, didn't exactly celebrate their union behind closed doors. According to Anderson, Camilla believed Kate wasn't one of them. Her traditional views on class and aristocracy clashed with Kate's middle-class upbringing. Privately, Camilla is said to have looked down on Kate's family and doubted her readiness to become a royal. She had envisioned someone with noble bloodlines by William's side, not the daughter of a flight attendant and a former airline dispatcher. The class divide was more than symbolic. It was personal. And Camilla didn't keep those opinions to herself. Anderson revealed that she actively encouraged a breakup between William and Kate in 2007, creating emotional turbulence that nearly ended the relationship. William, just 21, and deeply in love, found himself caught between loyalty to his father's partner and his commitment to Kate. But the tension didn't stop there. Behind the public appearances and stiff smiles, there was a deeper unease. Anderson pointed out something even more unsettling. Camilla, for all her poise, was slightly intimidated by William. She viewed him as unpredictable and not easily swayed by palace games. And William, in return, was never truly fond of her. Though outwardly respectful, he kept his distance emotionally. The coldness in their exchanges was not unnoticed, even by royal insiders. This icy relationship came under greater scrutiny after Prince Harry's bombshell memoir, Spare. In it, Harry claims both he and William directly asked their father not to marry Camilla. They weren't just unsure, they were actively against it. Harry even described her as a potential wicked stepmother, echoing childhood fairy tales where such characters brought only pain and betrayal. Despite their protests, Charles proceeded with the marriage in 2005, formally bringing Camilla into the royal fold. The brothers showed a united front on the wedding day, shaking hands and wishing their father well. But the wounds were far from healed. Harry's memoir also accused Camilla of feeding stories to the press about him and other family members, allegations that added fuel to the already burning fire of mistrust. The tension persisted for years. Insiders revealed that neither William nor Harry felt comfortable confiding in Camilla. Conversations were civil, but not close. The emotional wall between them remained sturdy, built on memories of their mother's pain and the complicated place Camilla now occupied in their lives. But in recent years, something shifted. After Harry stepped back from royal duties in 2020 and relocated to the US with Meghan Markle, the dynamic began to change. With one brother gone, William seemed to adjust. Sources say he began forming a more practical bond with Camilla, not out of affection necessarily, but for the sake of royal stability. With Kate's recent health struggles bringing the family closer, Camilla's role in William's life appears to be softening. They've reportedly started putting past grievances behind them, recognizing the value of unity. But behind the smiles, doubts still linger. Is this heartfelt reconciliation real? or just another carefully staged royal act for the cameras? Stick around as we uncover the part William truly played in all of this. Prince William's rise. Sparks. Silent war. With Queen Camilla. Rumors have been swirling through royal circles like an approaching storm. Prince William isn't just waiting in line anymore. He's quietly stepping into the role of a future king. And while the public celebrates his growing presence and polished image, not everyone in the palace is cheering him on. Whispers from royal insiders suggest that King Charles is starting to feel the heat. Behind his composed exterior, a flicker of rivalry has reportedly emerged, one that's beginning to mirror the same jealous tension he once harbored toward Princess Diana. The heart of the issue? William's popularity. He's become the face of a more modern, relatable monarchy, drawing admiration across the country. And while Charles has spent decades preparing for his reign, he's now facing a younger, more beloved heir, quietly gathering influence. Sources close to the palace say that this has caused unease, not just in the king himself, but in Queen Camilla too. For Camilla, this shift feels deeply personal. Having waited years for public acceptance and her moment in the royal spotlight, she now finds herself in an uncomfortable position on borrowed time. One source close to the family said, with Prince William poised to ascend, and Kate Middleton naturally stepping forward beside him, Camilla is reportedly reluctant to pass the crown, either symbolically or publicly. The tension isn't just about status, it's about influence. Speculation is growing that once William takes the throne, Camilla's role may quietly shrink. Though she might still appear at engagements, her sway in royal affairs is likely to diminish, and that change, however politely managed, could upend the delicate balance inside the palace. Meanwhile, Prince William has been methodically preparing behind the scenes. According to royal aides, he's taken a sharply focused approach to his future responsibilities. He's not just waiting for the crown to fall into his lap. He's learning, planning, building his team, and strengthening his image as a king in waiting. But such dedication comes at a cost. Insiders say that as William becomes more active, his dynamic with Charles has grown strained. It's not a loud clash, but a cold undercurrent. Two men preparing for the same role with different styles and timelines. One has waited his entire life to lead. The other is already being viewed by many as the rightful modernizer of the monarchy. Add to that the public's growing fondness for William and Kate as a couple, and you begin to see the royal storm clouds gather. Every photo op, every event, every public survey, each one tilts the scales a little further. And for Charles and Camilla, the spotlight they fought so hard to step into now feels like it's beginning to dim. Still, for all his preparation, William isn't navigating this road alone. The quiet strength of Kate Middleton is playing a critical role, and her presence seems to stir even more discomfort in Camilla. Their relationship, by most accounts, was never warm to begin with. And now, with Kate likely to take on the full weight of queenship, it's said to be more distant than ever. With Charles trying to hold on to relevance, Camilla reluctant to relinquish power, and William pushing forward with careful determination, the crown itself seems to be pulling the family in different directions. But the cracks don't end there. Because beneath this brewing generational tug of war lies something even more personal. The royal grandparent feud. And just how deep does that divide run? Stay right here. Inside the royal grandparent war, another quiet storm has been brewing behind palace walls. A subtle yet painful divide between two sets of grandparents, each vying for a place in the lives of three young royals, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. On one side stands King Charles and Queen Camilla, with all the weight and tradition of the monarchy. On the other hand, Carole and Michael Middleton, Kate's down-to-earth, deeply involved parents. What should have been a shared joy in watching the children grow has reportedly become a quiet, ongoing feud. At the center of the tension is a growing sense of imbalance. Multiple insiders have shared that Charles feels sidelined when it comes to spending time with his grandchildren. While Carole and Michael are regularly seen at the family's private residences, helping with childcare and spending casual time with the children, Charles allegedly sees himself left out. He's not just disappointed, one palace aide revealed. He's heartbroken. He feels like a distant relative, not a grandfather. This isn't new. The discontent reportedly dates back to the birth of Prince George in 2013. At the time, Charles is said to have voiced concern that he wasn't seeing his grandson enough. The tension only escalated as the years passed. One incident in particular, Prince George's third birthday party, seemed to leave a lasting bruise. Organized entirely by Carole Middleton, the event was a cheerful, family-focused celebration. But Charles reportedly felt more like a polite guest than an integral part of the day. Charles was deeply hurt, said a royal observer. He didn't want to just show up. He wanted to be involved. But the event was so Middleton-driven that he felt like an outsider. Adding to this emotional distance, sources say Charles occasionally views Carole as overly assertive, especially when it comes to Kate and the children. He's reportedly described her presence as a little too much, suggesting she handles family affairs with what he sees as a grandiose flair. Camilla, naturally, has taken her husband's side, allegedly expressing her frustrations that the Middletons sometimes overstepped their role. Things got worse when William and Kate began opting to spend holidays and personal downtime with the Middletons. A now infamous ski trip, where Charles had hoped to join the family but wasn't included, left him feeling especially raw. He had always imagined planning those trips as a grandfather, a family friend shared. To be excluded was more than just disappointing. It felt like a rejection. Behind these tensions lies a very human contrast. William, shaped by the rigidity and emotional distance of his royal upbringing, has found comfort and warmth in the Middleton household. Their low-key, nurturing style stands in stark contrast to the formal traditions he grew up with, and that emotional draw has inevitably tipped the scales. Practicality has only intensified the divide. Carole and Michael often step in to help with the children when William and Kate are busy with royal duties. While it makes sense logistically, Charles reportedly sees it as one more way he's being edged out. In response, he's tried to create his special memories, like having a custom-built shepherd's hut installed for the children at his countryside home, hoping to give them something magical and lasting. But what cut the deepest? Sources say Carole was blindsided by Charles' growing resentment. Friends insist she has always tried to remain respectful and stay out of the royal spotlight. She's heartbroken, one Middleton confidant shared. She thought she was doing the right thing by keeping a low profile. Now it feels like even that wasn't enough. Even their public appearances reflect this divide. Once visible at major royal milestones, Carole and Michael have increasingly been left off the guest lists. From the Queen's 90th birthday to royal events like Ascot and the Windsor Horse Show. The palace might say it's protocol. Insiders suspect otherwise. Carole Middleton's shocking revelation has left the royal family reeling. Could this clash be just the beginning of something much deeper involving Queen Camilla? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.